Alright, shalom, shalom. Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to begin by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakadash. Right, double honors to our elders and apostles of great soon, and shalom to all you brothers on the four corners of the earth that teaching this good gospel in all sincerity and in all truth. Alright, shalom, this is brother Jeremiah here, back with another video. Alright, and this video will be on Proverbs, reading Proverbs chapter 1 to 16, and hopefully that will be edifying. Because that, right? So, okay, if you have the stuff, I have a little cool, right? But you know the work of the Lord I do still, so I'm still okay about that. Right, so Proverbs 1 and verse 1, I have the word, I search up the word proverb, right? There's Proverbs you're reading from, right? And there's the part I want here. Right, it says proverb, parable, verb, proverbial, saying, right. But there's the part I want here, right? Sentences of ethical wisdom. So all these, as it says, sentences, all these sentences is wisdom, right? Is it wisdom, man? Who wrote this? Solomon, right? Wisdom, Solomon wrote this, right? And the Lord gave wisdom unto Solomon, right? Other lesson, right, written down about that, that the queen, I think it was Sheba, she came right from her land far. Just say, yeah, Solomon's wisdom, because the Lord gave him wisdom. That's what Solomon, asked the Lord for, wisdom and knowledge, right? So, Proverbs, 1 of verse 1, it says the Proverbs, right, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, because Solomon wrote this, right? The son of David. He was the son of David, king of Israel, right? To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. Right? Read all of that. Over here it says their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline, to help them understand the insights of the wise, and our prophets does do teach. Right? We likewise, these prophets, Lord set up his prophets today and they are teaching. Right? Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. Right? These proverbs will give insight to the simple and knowledge and discernment, right, to the young man, to the young. Verse 5 in KJV, a young man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Let the wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser, right? If Solomon wrote this, and the Lord gave wisdom unto Solomon, right? And he read this. This is wisdom reading about here, right? Wisdom and knowledge, right? Because Proverbs, right? You see, you'll reach there, right? And these are things we gotta take into consideration for ourselves as well, right? Let the wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser. Let those with understanding receive guidance. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings, which is, the parables, right? So the Lord will utter dark sayings when he was upon the face of the earth. That's why the disciples asked him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? But he said it's given unto you, right? To know them dark sayings, to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, right? But to them it was not given, right? Verse 6, it says, by exploring in GNT, by exploring, because this side KJV, this side NLT. So I don't know if I said GNT, the NLT, right? By exploring the meaning in these proverbs and parables and the words of the wise and their riddles, because a riddle is something like this where you solve, right? You solve a riddle. Right? Somebody say a riddle, yeah, some people solve it, right? Verse 7, it says, the fear of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. That's what fools does do. And the Lord set up his prophets out here to go out and teach and preach, and these fools and them, they ain't listening. Right? They despise wisdom because the prophets and the Lord have the wisdom and knowledge. Right? He gave it unto them. Right? He gave it unto them. Right? The Lord sent his prophets out there to teach. Guys, who's there? I'm gonna pull this real quick. Salakia, wait for a second. Hosea 12 and 10. Hosea 12 and verse 10. Right, I've also spoken by the prophets, and I've multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. See, the Lord has used his prophets. Right? We understand that the Lord has used his prophets. Right? Just like how he used Solomon to write these proverbs, for us today as well. Right? Because what was written aforetime was written for our learning. Right? So the Lord has used talk to the people through his prophet. Right? So if the Lord has used his prophets, I've also spoken by the prophets, the Lord will give the prophets wisdom and knowledge. Right? To break down these scriptures. Right? Read this one quick. Amos 3 and 7. It says, surely the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai power will do nothing but reveal it his secret unto his servants the prophets. And that's part of the dark scenes as well. He revealed that unto his prophets. Right? But to them it was not given. Because wait, see, when we go back to Proverbs 1 and 7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Right? And fear the Lord as well. If you fear the Lord, that is the beginning of knowledge. But fools despise wisdom and instruction, because the Lord would have given instructions in this Bible, in this book, for us to follow. Right? But them don't follow. Right? Them not following it. Them plainly saying they're not on that. Right? Them despise it. Right? Well, here it says the fear of the Lord is the fountain of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. And that would they do. And now this precept could come here beautifully here as well. Hosea again. Right? Hosea 6 and verse 4. No, 4 and 6. So like, yeah. Okay. Let me just go back. Hosea 4 and verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. See, thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. And on this side, it says, my people are being destroyed because they do not know me. Because the Lord sent out his prophets to make, the Lord sent out his prophets. We are sure about that. And they are making known, what I have written in the book about the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai, but they don't want to hear that. They don't even know the Lord. Since you priests refuse to know me, I refuse to recognize you as my priest. Since you have forgotten the laws of your power, I will forget to bless your children. Because that will do. Forget the laws of the Heavenly Father. Right? Back to the Proverbs. Okay. Right, verse 8, the heading for verse 8, it says the enticement of sinners. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Right? Remember the scripture says, well, honor thy mother and thy father. Right? That thy days may be long upon the land. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. Right? GNT, so like NLT says, my children, listen when your father corrects you. Right? Because the Lord set up fathers in the flesh. The Lord gave us fathers in the flesh, to correct us. Right? And he's using them to correct us as well. Right? Because when he's a child, when you're not coming up as a child, right, I bring this point back in our lesson a long, long time ago, about a year ago, to maybe 2 years ago, right? The Lord, the Lord knows His elect already, right? So the Lord don't know you if you really are part of the Lord's elect. You're predestinated, right, to get out, to get this truth, right? You're predestined to get this truth, right? That was done. That was done. That was done. Not written, but it was done said long time that you was gonna get this truth. Right? When you come up as a baby, the Lord will set up, your father and your mother, your parents in the flesh, and them will be over you until you reach a man. You know, you still have to honor them. Even though if you reach a man, you still have to honor them because that's what the scripture says. But the Lord will be dealing with you now. He will correct you when you go off now. But the Lord set up when you're coming up as a man, right? 10, 9, 11, 9, 10, 11. Your father and your mother will correct you. God will use them to correct you, right? And then when you get older, you turn a man, the Lord will correct you himself, right? So my child, listen, when your father corrects you, do not neglect your mother's instruction, right? What you learn from them will crown you with grace and be a chain of honor around your neck, right? Because them older than you, them are more experienced than you, so them could teach you a lot of things, for when you're growing up to when you not with them anymore, right? Because we don't know, you don't know what the future has, right? You don't know if you'll be living with them. So, and that's what the scripture says to do as well, train up a child in the right way, right? So that when he's old, he shall not depart, right? Verse 10 now, it says, My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Right, my child, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them because sinners, they will try to entice you because, hey, we are the truth of Yahweh Shemir Shan. These sinners and them, if you are wrong them, the jolly like the jolly, it's cool to, if you're not living, by them or anything like that because, I could speak for myself, right? Sometimes I'll check my cousins, right? Nothing wrong with checking your cousins, right? Just hollering at them, play a little ball, do something. Like your cousin, you grew up with them, right? And one time I was, just with him, we just chilling, right? And he said, let me go and keep that man, car battery. And I said, me? I said, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm not doing that, right? Because I know, the scriptures of Yahweh Shemir Shai, the scriptures, and I know you're not supposed to steal. That's a commandment, thou shalt not steal, right? And the way I bring it to him, I said, so I have a pocket, a little small pocket I roll with. I said, a little small slack in my pocket, I have a little small Bible I roll with. I said, so if now we gonna teach this thing and the catch we and the see I have a Bible in my pocket and take it out saying, so you have a Bible on you and you come into thief. I just bring like a point to him, right? He said he was joking, but I know that's how sinners is. They'll try to entice you to do the wrong thing, right? So don't let these sinners entice you. Let's bring a quick point, right? Verse 11. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us look privily for the innocent without cause. And that's how the people of the world is, right? Some people over in them other countries and they just kill people for fun, right? That person didn't do shit, but we know it coming directly from Yahweh Hashem Shai because the Lord every day he bring forth his judgment to light. That's Zechariah 3 and 5, I think, or Zephaniah 3 and 5, right? Either one, right? Every morning the Lord bring forth his judgment to light, right? So we know it's the Lord, no man perisheth, innocent, right? But still, you just gonna kill that person for no reason. No, it's the Lord, but just saying, right? They may say, Come and join us, let us hide and kill someone just for fun, you see? Let us ambush the innocent that, hey, this kind of mindset Esau, Edom, and them have, right? I'm gonna snatch up the children and them as the scriptures say. No man perishes innocent. So that child could have done something in his past life and the Lord is making them pay now for it. But that's just the mindset of them. Take the children and kill them and drink the blood and get high off it. These kind of things. Right? That kind of things they do. Right? Verse 12, let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. Let us swallow them, let's swallow them alive like the grave. Let's swallow them whole like those who go down to the pit of death. Verse 13, we shall find precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lots among us, let us all have one purse. Right? And it says, my son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy path, refrain thy foot from their path, because where's their path? Just on the road are stealing. So again, the scripture talks about stealing. Right? Verse 13 NLT says, things of the great things, so that think of great things we'll fill our houses with all the stuff we take, because there's thieves, that's what thieves us do. Right? Come, throw in your lot with us, we'll share the loot. Right? When the thieves, when they done thief, they'll share up everything. Even, well, excuse me, I don't know if they'll share up everything equally, but it gets shared up. Right? Verse 15, my child, do not go along with them, stay far away from their path, because that's how we, with them, the path where them going in, that leading to just the death. Right? Lord will judge them for that. Right? So now I'll read 15. How much I said it was? 1 to 16, I think. Yeah, 1 to 16. Right, so Proverbs 1 to 16. Right, I don't read that part. So we read 16 now. It says, right, verse 16, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. And that is how they is. They haste to shed blood. And I know this for a fact, because I how niggas is. You know, as I said, nothing wrong with coming and checking your cousins and say, hey, I love football, not going on in the field, you can take a little run. Say, yeah, cool, man. I just, maybe come back from doing the works at the Lord. Don't do the works at the Lord. Do what I have to do. So it's nothing to, and, take a little time off, in the flesh. What I mean, there's nothing wrong with, having a little fun, right? It's a balance, right? Once you do what you have to do, and then, you don't do everything you had to do, you work at the Lord, everything, Lord pleased with you, you can go and do your thing. That's normal, right? It's a balance, right? And then these niggas will be just talking like, hey, let them know it's serious killers down here. We have big tall rifles and that kind of talk. It's just niggas, right? I don't want to be around them too much, because you don't want to be around them when they get into judgment, right? Because the judgment will come. Right? Verse 16 NLT says they rush to commit evil deeds, then hurry to commit murder. That's the kind of people that have in this world. Right? That's the kind of people that have in this world. So, right? So, hopefully, that was edified. That was Proverbs 1 to 16. Right? Hopefully, that lesson was edifying to Lord's elect. Right? Giving all praises, all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Right? Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone and Shalom. To all you brothers on the four corners of the youth that teaching this good gospel and all sincerity and in all truth. Right? This is brother Ramia here signing out saying Shalom to Lord's elect and Shalom Abakariam and death is wicked place. Shalom, Shalom to the elect. I know as always say brothers, 1 Corinthians 15:58. Right? Always abounding in the work of the Lord Yahweh Hashem, because you know your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Right, brothers, stay strong. We almost out this bitch. We just know how to keep fighting, keep pushing, right? Stay strong, brother. Shalom.